Good. GoPro seems to have woken up and decided it wants to live for a little bit longer. It's Friday night after a long week at work. I've been down here a little while, just really cleaning up inside the car and underneath so that I can have a nice working environment to finish welding this in. I was hoping I would have done it all this week after work, but that hasn't really happened, unfortunately. So I've rearranged my lights so it should be a bit brighter for filming, and I've got my jack to push bits of the floor up from underneath while I hammer down on top just to close up some of these gaps, and then I can MIG plug weld through and we should be done with this bit anyway. So I'm gonna go find my gauntlets and my goggles and get cracking. Forgot to turn the camera on. So basically got my jack under the floor, which means I can hit down onto this or stand on it and actually close those seams up. If I was just hitting down and that wasn't supported with anything, it would just be gibbering up and down and not really doing anything useful. So here when it's down, have a look underneath. So that's 4 I've put in here. And you can see that's where they came through. I might need to dress that down a little bit more. Let's just see what the penetration's like. It might be I have to turn the welder up again. Yeah, it's not quite burning. Oh, I don't know. Excuse me, dodgy camera work. You can just see it is burning it slightly. It's not making a big molten pool. But then again, that panel is like, I don't know, 2 mil thick. Just another check. I can close that panel up without the top skin jumping off, so I'm happy I've got enough penetration to hold it on there. It'd be hard to imagine that I hadn't, because it's pretty hot, the welder, at the moment. I keep using the term hot and cold or whatever. That of course is not how it works, but it's my easy way of explaining what I'm up to. Time to redeploy the jack. You can kind of see what I'm trying to achieve, or hopefully you can. quite there. Okay, let's give it a tap from above. See what it does. Hopefully you can see what I'm on about. Wunderbar! Much better. Feel free to switch off at any point, because this is just going to be more of the same. Boring, boring, boring. Underneath. Check you are still recording. Yes, you are. 31 minutes. So here we are at the back underside. That's what you're looking at. That's the bit I was just hammering. Did some blind hammering from underneath just to make sure that rear seam was where it needed to be. Will be closed off now. That bit I'll need to smash up as I go. I might actually weld it from underneath as well. Then this bit here, I need to drive this back up. There's not much room to swing a hammer actually. Thing is, if I smash this up, the floor just bounces up and away, so you have to be careful where you aim, like that. See, I've just clubbed the floor by mistake. Go! Right, let's go and give it a thump from above. People always want to restore cars when they're retired, but I'm glad I'm doing this while I'm still able-bodied, as it were, because it's a pain. That's 1 hour, 1 minute. I think I've stopped recording. Yeah, I don't know whether it is recording or not. I've never had a video go for 1 complete hour on GoPro before. Yeah, everything's done top side. Now I just got to do the bottom side. So all the plug welds in and along here. For which I need some clamps. Here's, you are still recording. Some of those welds under there didn't go brilliantly well, so while I can, I'm going to run some stitches just along here to make sure this belts and brace is good. Don't want the floor opening up, do we? Right, I'm done. I don't know what time it is. That's been recording for 1 hour and 10. And I think I started down here about, I don't know, 6:15 or something. But yeah, floor is in. You can jump up and down on that and it's not going to fall out. It's pretty faithfully attached to the chassis rails and the heel board and the inner sill. Some additional stitches just for my own paranoia, and because someone will probably say, oh, rubbish. Oh, right, I'm calling it a night. See you later. Another day and another interesting combination of rain and sun. I should be working on the diesel now. I told myself that for the whole of March I'm just going to work on the diesel until the NEC show, but because of the rain I'm going to continue just cleaning up the floor. It's all welded in and I'm really happy. It looks great from the top side. I'm still not entirely happy with the seam that runs along the bottom edge. There was a few welds that I just couldn't get to. So I'm going to get under the car with the grinder first, sand those welds down, and then finish welding them basically, and get all of the seams underneath the car hammered up. So I might actually lift the car higher. That was the reason some of my welds are so crap, is because just under here, by the time you got a welding helmet on as well, I just can't see what I'm doing or can't get comfortable access. Just going to double check that's recording. Yes, it is. GoPro seems to be working a little bit better than it was. You can see the problem. Some of these welds have either missed the plug weld hole, or it's just not looking very good. There's no danger that this floor is going to move away or do anything like that, because I've put the stitches in above, like so and like so. But again, like, I guess a lot of channels wouldn't show you stuff that looks this ugly, but this is just the way that it's going to be, because I haven't got the car on the rotisserie and I can't do super lovely nice welds, but it's definitely solid. So yeah, going to nip all these back, fill in any bits that I've missed, grind it back again, go around with a hammer and close up all of these joints, bits like that where there's a kind of an open seam, although it's seam welded from above and it's not going to go anywhere. It just needs to be hammered up, done nicely, and then along the back as well. Well, that's a bit better. I can see where I've missed now a couple, 1, 2, and a couple of other little bits that I might want to just tidy up, but it's all nicely attached, so that's the most important thing. Go and set up the welder and then gob a bit more on with the metal glue gun. You can kind of see the problem I'm having. Can't find my big jack. I think I left it at work, so I can't get the car any higher, so I'm just gonna have to do the best I can to get into these welds. Ugh, weld them up. Ow. Burning metal, ow. Ouch. That's not fun. Just managed to burn myself quite a lot. Ow, ow, ow. It actually smells of pork scratchings, because that's me on fire. Whew. That could all go away. Sander. Fucking hell. I'm sure you get the idea. Just been cleaning stuff off and hammering seams together, and then I broke the light. Turns out it doesn't like being used as a hammer. That was a thoroughly miserable job. Oh, is that working again? No, that's not working. Right, so that is all. Well, I haven't gone to town on it basically. One, for strength, two, because you're never going to see it, because all of this will be covered in multiple layers of carpet. It's going to get painted, seam sealed, all the rest of it, so there's no point. Now I'm going to go and get some red oxide and shove it all over this. I'm still in two minds as to what to do with the underside, because I need it to be in a condition where I can leave the car for a while without it flash rusting, so I've got to put something on there. But the ultimate solution, the end aim, is to put the black epoxy on the underside of the car and then stone chip it. But that stuff, you've got to mix it up and do it in one hit, and you can't overcoat the epoxy easily unless you do it within a couple of days. So I think what I'm going to do is put some Hydrate 80 on the bits of remaining surface rust on that chassis rail, particularly the bit that comes out here, and then the rest of it I'll just put red oxide on as well, because it's quite easy to sand back through and it is waterproof. So I'll get the Hydrate 80, do that bit, then do the red oxide in the car, then underneath afterwards. And when I say red oxide, it is still that Bonder primer. And thank you to whoever it was who posted up saying that that is waterproof, because I wasn't sure, but yeah, apparently that does leave a waterproof layer, or a layer certainly, that will protect stuff for a very long time before you overcoat it. So I'm going to have a break for a minute, maybe have a cup of tea, and then find some paintbrushes, do some painting. Before I do the Hydrate 80, I've decided to just attack that area again with a brand new sanding disc, 80 grit, to clean off a bit more, because there's no point doing a half-assed job on this. Beautiful! Right, Hydrate 80 time! Ugh. This side cleaned up beautifully. Considering I did that blind, that worked out nice. Nicely, excuse my poor language. Cool, right, I am going to go and have a cup of tea. This can all go off, and I'll come back and paint it red. Cool. Right. That is done. I'm now gonna toss a bit on the underside. I might degrease it first. I didn't bother on this side because there's basically no grease in there, but on the underside where I've cleared that old underseal and cavity wax off, it kind of got smeared and thrown around by the wire brush drill thing. So I'll go find some panel wipe, thinners stuff, and clean that, and then you'll see the underside of the car painting. Bear in mind all of this will get seam sealed properly at a later date and stone chipped. So all of this is really to stop flash rust forming in the seams and undoing all of my hard work. I'll get a caulking gun with some Tiger Seal or some Worth Bond Seal, and then I'll pipe that into all of these seams and flanges. Then when that's gone off, I'll go over the top with brushable seam sealer and some masking tape to make it look factory, and then epoxy it, and then stone chip, or the other way around, I don't know, haven't decided yet. Either way, it should be good for a few more years. It's still funny to think that I've done no repairs to that sill edge and it's still perfectly crisp. You'd think that I'd rebuilt the whole structure, but I haven't. All I've done is like rub the paint off. So people who say SD1s love to rust, it's like you couldn't have treated this car worse and it's still solid. I think that's about done for the moment. Let's have a look back in here again. Yeah, so I'm going to call it a day, and once that's all gone off, I can seam seal it properly. Inside and out, and then we should be getting somewhere. So a few hours later, this is not fully dried, but it's dry enough for me to get some more brushable seam sealer onto it. So I've just masked up roughly some bits. I'm going to paint it on. You can see down here, well I can, hopefully you can, that's the kind of finish I'm going for. Big blobs of it, big stripe, so I'm just stuffing it in, and then hopefully I'll drag the brush across the top and it'll look somewhat like factory. Doesn't have to be perfect. as long as it looks about right. It's quite satisfying. It is pissing it down again outside, so I'm glad for the garage. One last bit to do. This is an original drain plug hole that goes in here. That's an original Rover part. It has the like rubber sticky stuff with it, but that's gone hard over the years, so I'm just gonna put it in with seam sealer again. I'll also need to cut a little plate to go in there, same as I did with the back, but I forgot to do that, so that'll wait for another time. But yeah, I can stick that bit in now anyway. Done. So that bit is now done. Obviously the whole of the underside will need to be properly sealed with some kind of bond seal stuff in a caulking gun and poked right into all of those like crevices, and then all treated. This is probably going to be the end of the videos on Dotty for a little while, purely because I need to get on with that diesel, but I might not record the next stages in as much depth, purely because videoing and uploading and all that editing stuff actually takes a while, and it's all going to be the same process. I don't quite know how far I'm going to have to go in these other areas. This was by far the worst part of the car, so that done is a nice tick. I haven't fully investigated under there. From initial poking, it does need a repair. Whether or not it's going to have to be as big as that, I don't know. And for the front corners, I think the actual chassis rails will need repairs, as will bits of the floors, but how much again I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, see you then, bye.